Welcome to the Studio Drummer Chats. This is a creativity podcast. I hope whether you are a writer or musician or comedian or actor or anything creative, that there will be something in this podcast for you. I do talk a lot about drumming and music production. My name is Jonathan Cazenave, and I am a producer, drummer, songwriter. And this episode, number 5, is about having fun with your creative endeavor or having fun playing your instrument. I come at it a bit from the perspective of a drummer or musician, but again, a lot of these things will apply no matter what you do. The last episode, number 4, was about the 4 practice tips, as I called it. And for a lot of us out there, the idea of practice is almost like homework. It's something that we sort of have to do. For others of us, it really is a lot of fun just to pick up our instrument and play. So the idea with this podcast is the fun episode is that I'm going to list a lot of things that might spark your interest and you might find fun, because it's really important to find the fun in playing your instrument or in your creative endeavor. Because if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to do it. If you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? And, sometimes we find ourselves when we're playing something or practicing something, sure, you're going to have frustrating times. Sure, you're going to have times where the challenge of accomplishing something is going to take a while. That's okay. But ultimately, we've got to have the fun part in there. So my question to you is, what do you play for fun? What do you do for fun? You may be a professional that has your pro gig, and then you've got your passion project over here. That counts. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Balance is going to be the key, because you do have to spend a lot of time on the business part and making sure your craft is in place and making sure that you're doing marketing and all these things that we have to do. Marketing can be networking or whatever. But all those things, you only have so many hours in the day, but still, you have to make time for the things that you're passionate about, the things that are fun. If you play an instrument strictly for enjoyment, and I hope I have a lot of listeners out there that just play their instrument just because they love doing it. Maybe they play the drums because it's a great way to release frustration. Maybe they play guitar because it gives them a chance to hang out with their friends and play their favorite songs. I hope there's a lot of you out there listening to this podcast. If you play just for fun, you have a huge advantage, because pretty much everything you're doing is for the fun part. You're focusing on the fun part, and as it should be. So that's fantastic. Either way, let's run through a few ideas here about things that we can do for fun. Number 1, a lot of us, when we're trying to find something that we enjoy playing, we simply play cover songs. And, the idea with this is you can, learn songs note for note. The advantage to this is that by doing it, you're learning vocabulary. You're learning how that particular person approached his or her instrument. And you're improving your chops. And if you're playing along with the song, then you're improving your time, hopefully. So all these things are really, really good. So if you're playing cover songs, or if you're learning songs strictly for fun, and that you enjoy that's something that you just really can't wait to do, then that's a fantastic thing to do for fun, whether you're a professional or an amateur. Another idea is to improvise with something like what I like to do sometimes. One of the things I do for fun is I will take a Pandora station or an Apple radio station, and I'll pick a genre that's fairly straightforward, like maybe a chill hop station or a synthwave station. And I like those kinds of music, so I can play along with those, and I can play on top of those and sort of add to the songs as I'm playing with them. So if I'm playing chill hop, I can sort of add in trap type beats because there's a lot of space in there for me to play around with. If I'm playing synthwave, again, it's kind of 4 on the floor. There's a lot of space so I can build the pieces, I can do drum fills, I can add parts, I can sort of approach it as a composer or a songwriter playing the drums. And that's really fun for me. I can easily kill an hour doing that. But while I'm doing it, what I do is I'm thinking about time. I'm thinking about, if I'm playing the hip hop stuff, I'm thinking about my right foot speed and accuracy. All that stuff is to a grid, or 95% of it, unless it's like a Dilla vibe or something. So I'm working on metronomic accuracy because I'm playing with basically a glorified metronome. That is fun for me. And also, the way I approach it is I'm conscious, and I talked about this in episode 4, I'm conscious of what I'm playing and doing, and I'm practicing in my head as I'm having fun. For me, that's the ultimate, having fun while you practice. But back to just the straight fun. Don't worry about the practice word right now. Another idea is collaboration. So this can be ideally in a room with other musicians, collaborating with other musicians, if that sounds fun to you. If you've never done that, check it out. It's something that is difficult to describe, or it's difficult to get the benefit out of it without having actually done it. So if you've never jammed with other musicians, try it out. And just see if you like it. See if that seems fun for you. A couple of resources you might check out for that. One is bandmix.com, BANDMIX. It's been around a long time. You can sort by your zip code and look for people that are into the same genres that you're into. Craigslist is actually a pretty good source for this stuff too. You know, if you put an ad out there, just be friendly and professional. You know, details. This is what I'm into. You know, I'm on this side of town. I'm looking just to get together with people for fun, or maybe I'm looking to get together 20 songs so we can go play, or whatever your goals are. Kind of set that out there and just be specific, instead of, maybe I'm looking for a guitar player. I'm into Rush. Just, try to be as specific as you can, friendly, professional. Another good source is Facebook groups. There's a bunch of those out there, and you can also actually create a Facebook ad very inexpensively that you can target to people that might be interested in the same things that you're interested in. Look into that. It's not expensive. It's not too difficult to set up. I ran across a new one doing research recently called SongTrader, SongTradr. It's a curated site of some sort. And I've read some pretty good things about it. Have not tried it yet, but you might check it out. So, SongTrader, Facebook groups, any of these theoretically could also be used for remote collaboration. So the idea here is you play a part, or somebody plays a part or a thing, and then they send it to you, and you record your part, and you send it back, and and if you already have a recording set up, or you like the idea of recording, or that seems fun, then you can actually do this really inexpensively. You can do this on your phone now. If you run OS X, if you're a Mac person, GarageBand is amazing for the free or $10 that it costs. If you run PCs, then Reaper is really good. So check those out, inexpensive. And, if the whole recording thing seems like it's going to get in the way of having fun for you, skip that part. But keep an open mind about it, because there's a lot of great resources out there. So as long as we're talking about computers and GarageBand and things like that, the next idea is to write pieces, write loops, write little short pieces of music or long pieces of music to play along with. So if the idea of songwriting and composing pieces of music for you to play your instrument to seems fun, you being in the studio, you working on those things, if that seems interesting to you, again, that's a craft that you can be honing while you're having fun. So you could write a little piece of music that you could play drums to or guitar to, and you're working on multiple things at once. I love things that achieve several goals at once. Having fun, working on your craft, learning how to record, all these things in one sit-down hour. Another thing that you can do to just sit down and play, there is a huge variety of different kinds of loops out there. If you happen to use Logic or a lot of DAWs, back to GarageBand, any of those have an amazing amount of built-in loops. You can drag them on to a track and you can start playing to them. You can pick the genre. It's a lot of fun. And if you don't have one of those DAWs, check out some of these sites that will sell you loops, like Big Fish Audio is a great one. Again, you can pick by genre, and there's a lot of just cool things that you can just basically click on and start playing to. To me, that's a lot of fun because I like to have a piece of music to play to, and I can solo over it. I can work on beats to it, all these things. And sometimes you come up with creative ideas for songs, or you might even use those as a basis for shooting a video, or who knows. Just depends on what you're into, what sounds fun to you. If you do have an iPhone, by the way, there's a little hidden gem. If you have not messed around with GarageBand that much, check out GarageBand for the next to nothing that it costs. There's a feature in there called Live Loops that'll work on your iPad or iPhone. And it has this feature where you can basically build a song by just clicking. So it'll start with a loop, and if you want to transition to like the intro, the verse, the chorus, the bridge, you just click it. And it's really cool. And it has several genres, and it gives you something to play along with immediately for like $5. You plug your headphones in and you just go. So that's a lot of fun for me. One last loop company that I'll mention is some software called Arcade. The website is output.com, output.com. It's something kind of new for me, but I've heard the demos and it sounds really good. Their whole thing is a subscription base. They'll let you try. Right now, there's 100 days for free, and they're not a sponsor of this podcast, but I wish they were if you happen to be listening out there. But check them out. The idea is with Arcade is that every day there's new loops, new stuff, new material. And again, you install the software, you click play, and you start playing. Or if you're into creating new stuff or songs or compositions, you start creating and there's always new material. That's kind of their whole thing. So if you are into recording technology, then recording yourself, to me, that can be fun because it gives you something to work on, and you're working towards a goal, and maybe you're trying to master a track. If that sounds fun for you, then that is a great way to A, have fun, B, while you're improving, because when you listen back to yourself, you get a good sense of really where you are in a situation that you may or may not have been able to hear while you're playing. So if you already kind of have, I tell my students all the time, take your iPhone, and just record yourself playing and just listen back and see what you think. It's so easy now with voice memo. And if it's distorted, put a towel over it or put it further across the room. But just, every now and then, when you're, even if you're just working on a single stroke, or even if you are playing a beat, whatever, just record it for a minute or so and just listen back. What we're looking for here is something that is going to really make you look forward to getting on your instrument. Something that just strikes you as fun. It might be playing covers, which could be playing covers with your friends or just sitting down with headphones in your room and playing. It could be recording covers. It could be improvising over existing music. So making up your own parts to existing music, as I was talking about that I do with a Pandora station. It could be collaborating with others via getting in the room with people or over the internet, online, remotely. It could be writing your own stuff. It could be just playing along with loops. It could be recording yourself playing along with loops. All these things, what you're looking for is something that's going to lead you to the original reason you started playing the instrument. I don't know if you guys remember when you first started playing an instrument, and it might have been as a child or it might have been as an adult, but there was something, that childlike wonder, there was something that attracted you to it. And I know for me, It was what is that? What is that thing? We all had those moments where you heard something or you played something and there was that spark. That is what we're trying to stay in touch with all the time, the inner childlike wonder. Sometimes as an adult, we have to actively search for that feeling again. And I'm hoping one of these tips might help you spark that feeling again, that you may be able to find that. Pick one and try it. If you're like, meh, try another. Let me know how these work for you, if it's good or bad. You can get in touch with me at jc@jcasmusic.com. You can reach me through my YouTube channel, which is The Studio Drummer. I would love to connect with you on Instagram, which is also The Studio Drummer. I hope that you will subscribe to this podcast. And I have a request for you. Please pass this podcast on to one creative person that you know. That'll help me out a lot. I would really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you soon. And on the next podcast, this is The Studio Drummer. Talk to you soon. Go have fun.